A lot of this conversation, whether it's partial transfers or conventional, has talked about the complexity of this market that's kind of inherent. And we're aware that there's this kind of 30,000 advice threshold where people have to seek advice. I'm interested to hear what you as panellists think about whether that is the appropriate threshold and kind of how we deal with the people who, I've termed them relatively smaller pots, but above 30k, but are not kind of masses and masses of pension pots, probably unlikely to want to pay for advice as well. So I don't know if anybody wants to comment on that.
Just to make one observation, it's illusory. The fact it's 30,000 because unfortunately it was a scheme just yesterday. The client's got £24,000 and they've insisted they take financial advice. So the point is that the scheme can insist that they do that. So it's not at all, it's not a sort of 30,000 because we're saying, look, go back. You've got trivial commutation, you can go, you've got various options, go and do what you want to do. And they said, no, I can't. So we ran the scheme ourselves and said, look, this is what the member's saying. Says, yeah, sorry, but that's it. We need to see a signed declaration, a signed certificate by a qualified person to say they've received the appropriate advice, which consequently means cost. And the thing is, as we now know, typically there's no reason why it wouldn't cost just as much to do a £20,000-30,000 case than a £100,000, £200,000, £250,000 case.
And is that a one-off position? I hadn't heard that sort of happening before.
No, that's happening more than more, absolutely more and more.
Just because they're worried about liability.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly that. Yeah, they are exactly that. Yeah, so they're hiding behind that now and just saying, in any instance, you've got to take finance advice and you've got to prove it as well. So, and then obviously you do have that cost. And we actually find, interestingly, from an experience point of view, the smaller cases are often more complex, but often because they are such a small amount, the client says, oh, I was going to take it out by holiday. I think, whoa, you're not going to do that. Not on my watch anyway, you're not doing that. Whereas actually when someone's got $500,000, you can do some proper planning with that person. This is what it looks like. This is what an income might look like over this period of time. You're so restricted on a fund of £30,000. There's just not a lot you can do. Your income return from that is almost nothing. After tax, it's less still. So it is certainly it's a problem by virtue of the fact that obviously advisors have still got to charge, and unfortunately the poor old members are having to sort of bite the bullet and pay the charge.
It's a very difficult position because a £30,000 transfer value probably represents a deferred pension of less than £1,000.
Oh,
maybe £800 or so.
Yeah, you take tax-free cash, absolutely. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So it is a low figure, but as Tim said, the cost of advising on 35,000 or 40,000 or 50,000 is still relatively high, and we have found that it probably pushes a lot of people out of the advice market because they're not willing to pay. I don't know what the fee might be, but a fee of £3,000 on a £50,000 transfer value in percentage terms is too high. But
Matt, what do you think on this? I mean, because there have been some headlines in the past around in the consumer press predominantly, but around I've been forced to take advice and that kind of thing, and that sort of runs counter to everything the advice profession has been working on.
And there's always going to be some people who feel hard done by. I guess looking at it from pensions freedoms as a whole, I think our feeling is that the dial is still towards perhaps too much risk being brought on by customers making their own decisions, and our feeling is that if the system was designed so that there'd be more default guidance, then that's the first step to take. So I think in terms of getting the right amount of advice, I think when you look at all the issues that have been talked about here in terms of sequencing risk, in terms of running out of money, in terms of the lifetime cap, I think it's very easy for even people who are very comfortable with finances to feel that they're in a really good position to make a decision, but then one of those factors, you throw that into the pot and suddenly the whole thing's turned upside down. So I think from our point of view, from a public policy point of view, what we'd like to see first is see more people getting guidance and see the route channeling more people down towards guidance. And then if people have guidance and then there's a lot of evidence mounting up that there's a particular group of people who are paying for advice when they shouldn't pay for advice, then look at that as the sort of the next stage, I think, rather than race straight into sort of raising the 30,000 cap. Yeah.